Hello students. So today we are going to start with our new topic, and that is network synthesis. But before proceeding to the network synthesis, you all must know that for any given network, three things are important. One is the input, that is also called as excitation, that is the input that we provide to any network. Second is the output, that is also called as the response of any system, and the network elements, that is the R, L, and C components with which any network is made. So basically, when we talk about any network, when these are our network elements given and the response is to be calculated, this is the response that is to be calculated, and this is the input, that is the excitation, that is, let's say we are giving it as 100 volts, 2 volts, whatever it is. These are the elements that we have provided it. So the response that we are getting is called as network analysis. We analyze the network to know that what is the value of this output response IL. So now we are going to talk about what were the methods that we discussed. The methods that we used for network analysis were all the theorems that we discussed. In this, you covered Norton's theorem, Thevenin's theorem, superposition theorem, maximum power transfer theorem. Then you also came to know about your transient response of the circuits using Laplace transforms. And then we also discussed about your two-port networks. So all these methods are covered under network analysis. So then what is this network synthesis? So let's learn the difference between the two and understand what is network synthesis. So now we come on to the basic difference between network analysis and network synthesis. So basically, when we just discussed that network analysis, you need to calculate the response of the system whenever a circuit is given. You are given with the network element values as well, and you need to calculate the current in any element or the voltage in any branch, and the voltage input is also given. So that means you are given with the input, what is the value of this voltage V, what is the network elements, what is the value of the various resistive components, capacitance or inductance that is there in the circuit, and you need to calculate your IL or VC or whatever it is. So this is what we do in network analysis. When we talk about your network synthesis, you are given with the input now, and you are also given with the output now. Now you have to, using your output and input relation, you need to calculate your this network. You have to design, you have to synthesize the network using this input and output. And you all know that when I'm talking in terms of output and input, what you have got, this will be the Laplace transform of output to Laplace transform of input. In terms of this, you will be getting your this emittance function, and from there you will be calculating your network. So the second point of difference is that the solution is always unique when we talk about your network analysis. If you are giving it a 9 volts input, this is 2 ohm, this is 5 ohm, this is 4, for a given set of elements and a given input, IL will remain same. But that is not the case with your network synthesis. Let's say that you have designed an element and you say that the value of this element is coming out to be 10 ohms. Now your this 10 ohms can be created using 5 ohm and 5 ohm in series. 5 ohm and 5 ohm in series will give you 10, or you can use your 8 ohm and 2 ohm in series. Again, you are going to get 10. Then you can get your 6 ohms and 4 ohms in series. Again, you are going to get 10 ohms. Moreover, you can even get a 20 ohm and 20 ohm resistor in parallel. And again, you are going to get a 10 ohm resistor from the parallel combination of 20 ohm resistance. Then the last point is your network analysis gives you a solution always. There will always be a current in any branch of the circuit when voltage is there. And it is not necessary in case of network synthesis. The reason why we are not getting sometimes the value of the network components is when the value comes out to be negative of the components. Because if you are going to design any resistance and you get a minus 10 ohm resistance there, you will not be able to design it, and we cannot synthesize that given circuit. So to know that a given circuit can be, the given polynomial can be designed, can be synthesized using network synthesis, depends on two things. One is called the Hurwitz and the second is called the positive real function. For a given polynomial to be synthesized, it must fulfill the properties of Hurwitz polynomial as well as the properties of the positive real function. So today we are only going to discuss about our Hurwitz polynomial. So now we are going to discuss about the properties of Hurwitz polynomial. So let's write here that we are now going to discuss the properties of Hurwitz polynomial. So I have taken a general polynomial given as an Sn plus an minus 1 Sn minus 1, and the power of S is decreasing and the last term is a constant term a naught. So you can take an example of this polynomial as, let's say it is equals to 2s cube plus 3s square plus 5s plus 4. So you will be understanding the properties easily using this numerical value of this polynomial. So the very first property is that all coefficients should be real and positive. So from here you can see that the coefficient means the coefficients of all the powers of S, that is 2, 3, 5, 4, they all should be real and positive. If you all know about real and imaginary, it is always given like a plus jb. So the values should all be real. No single root should be negative, right? So now we come on to no single coefficient should be negative. So the second point is that all powers of S should be present. What does that mean? Is that the highest power of S is 3. So starting from 3 till the constant term, all the powers should be there. You can see here that S power 3, then decrease it by 1, S power 2, then decrease it by 1, S, and then 4. If there is some polynomial given like 5s4 plus 3s cube plus 2s plus 5, directly on looking at this polynomial, you are going to say that this is not a Hurwitz polynomial. And why? Because the power of 2, that is s square power, is missing in this polynomial. So these are the first two properties that we have just discussed. The next properties calls for that any polynomial Ps, it can always be divided into even and odd polynomial. So let's say there is a polynomial S4 plus, let's say start with S5, S5 plus S4 plus 2S cube plus 2S square plus 5S plus 8. Now you all know that we can separate the odd powers and the even powers of our this polynomial. So let me just circle the even ones with green and then we can separate them out. So my even polynomial will be equal to S4 plus 2S square plus 8, while my odd polynomial will be equal to S raised to power 5 plus 2S cube plus 5s. So all polynomials can be separated in even and odd polynomials, and the combination of the total polynomial will be the combination of the two polynomials. Only except for the case where the polynomial is only even or odd polynomial, and the roots of such lie on the imaginary axis. Roots of even or odd polynomials all lie on the imaginary axis. So basically, when we talk about that we have your even and odd polynomial or whatever the polynomial, the main criteria with which we calculate that a given polynomial is Hurwitz or not is using continued fraction expansion. That in short is also known as CFE, and the other name of CFE is Euclid's algorithm. So according to your CFE, if all the quotients of your CFE are coming out to be positive, then we say that the given polynomial will be a Hurwitz polynomial. And I have already told you the significance of mentioning that whether a given polynomial is Hurwitz or not is that only if it is a Hurwitz polynomial, only then it can be synthesized. So now there are some very important facts about CFE. The very first thing that we just discussed was all quotients must be positive. We are going to learn just about, after learning the important points of CFE, that how we are going to continue your CFE. The basic thing about CFE is it is a division and then inversion. First step is always division, and after that we go for the inversion. Then the step again is repeated, that is we again go for division and again we invert. We will be just discussing it with a numerical example. The third point is the last remainder should be always be equal to 0. When we discuss about your Hurwitz polynomial, we calculate whether the given polynomial is Hurwitz or not. When we carry out CFE, the last remainder should always be 0. And the final point that will cross check your values will be the number of quotients that you are going to get should be equal to highest power of s in the polynomial. Like we just discussed that there was s raised to power 5, a polynomial was starting with s raised to power 5. So for such polynomial, the maximum number of quotients you are going to get will be 5. If you are not getting the quotients as equal to the highest power of s, then that means there must be some common factor in your that polynomial, because we always go for the CFE of numerator divided by the denominator. Higher power is always considered as the numerator, while the lower power always divides the numerator. So if the CFE is stopping abruptly, only after first step you are getting a 0, so that means there is a common factor between the numerator and the denominator. So now you are given with a question that find out whether this given polynomial that is given with s cube plus 2s square plus 4s plus 2 is Hurwitz or not. So the very first step that you are going to do is separate it in terms of even and odd polynomial. So again, your this s cube and 4s will be your odd ones, while your 2s square plus 2 will be the even polynomial. So let's separate them. So you will be getting even as 2s square plus 2, while the odd will be s cube plus 4s. Now the second step that I just told you is that higher power is always taken as the numerator. So here the higher power will be equal to the odd polynomial. Only in this case, you always have to see that which part has the higher power, that you are going to keep as the numerator, and the other one you are going to keep as the denominator. So here you are going to divide your odd by the even one. So let's write them. So it is your s cube plus 4s divided by 2s square plus 2. So first thing that you need to do in CFE is you have to cancel your this very first term s cube. So you have to make sure that what you divide multiply with 2s square, that makes it equal to s cube. So here you can see that if I divide it by 2, then my 2 and 2 will cancel, and if I multiply it by s, then it will be equal to my s cube. So that means the factor that will come here will be s by 2 here, and it is going to give me s cube here, right? And here when 2 will be multiplied, s by 2 multiplied by 2 will give me s here. So I am going to write here s, and now we have to minus it. This thing will cancel out, and here I am going to get 3s. Now if you all remember, I just told you that the first step is divide and the second step is invert. So what I mean by invert is the thing that was dividing. So here you should see that 2s square plus 2 was dividing your this s cube plus 4s, but when you get the remainder, now the thing that was dividing before will get divided itself. So this is called your inversion. Listen once again. The polynomial that was dividing the numerator first is now in the second step going to get divided itself in the next step, right? So now you are going to divide by 3s. Again, you have to see that what should get multiplied by 3s so that you get 2s square. So here you can see that you have to multiply it by s, divide it by 3, and then multiply by 2. So that means here the quotient will be 2s by 3, so that you get your 2s square. So now you are going to write here 2s square. So let me just get a small space more here. So now you are going to subtract it. Let me just change the color. So here you get, and here you get 2. So again, we have divided it here. We have done the division. So now that was dividing is now going to get divided itself here. So now you are going to divide 3s with the remainder that you just got was 2. So now what you should multiply with 2 that you get 3s here. So simply you have to divide it by 2 and multiply it by 3s. So that means you are going to get 3 by 2s as the quotient here, and then here you get 3s, and you know that your these both terms are going to get cancelled and you are going to get remainder as 0. So what we discussed is that the remainder, last remainder should always be equal to 0. Otherwise you need to keep on going for the CFE. You should carry on the CFE. Then we discussed that the highest power of s. So s cube is the highest power. Here you can see that highest power is 3, and you can also see that the number of quotients that you are going to get is 1, this is second, and this is third. So 3 quotients are there. And now if you check that your quotient number 1, quotient number 2, and quotient number 3, all these 3 quotients are all positive, that indicates that your this given polynomial is a Hurwitz polynomial. And this is how you solve the numerical based on your Hurwitz polynomial properties, right? So now the problem is, what if this is the case when your all powers are there? So what should we do if the given polynomial is only even or only odd polynomial? So let's take an example. So before that, we should also take an example where we can say that the given polynomial is not Hurwitz polynomial. So let's first take a simple example. Let's take your question number 2 as s cube plus 2s square plus 2s plus 40, and you people are told that find out whether your this given polynomial is Hurwitz or not. Again, the very first step is separate your odd terms. Highest power is of odd, so now you know that s cube plus 2s is going to get divided by your 2s square plus 40. So now what you should multiply with your 2s square so that you get s cube. So you know that you should multiply it by s and divide it by 2. So here I am going to multiply it with s by 2 here, and the value I am going to get is s cube plus 20s. So subtracting here, I am going to get your minus 18s. So again, here I just divided at this step. So now this point is going to 2s square plus what is going to get divided itself. First it divided and now it is going to get divided itself. So 2s square plus 40. And now you know that I have to multiply it by minus s upon 9 because 18s is there and I have to get 2s square from it. So I have to divide it by 9 and I have to multiply it by s. So that means I require s by 9 but with a negative sign to make it a positive 2s square. So that is going to give me a negative quotient. So the quotient I have just got is negative, and that contradicts with the Hurwitz property. As soon as you are going to get the negative quotient, there is no need to carry on your CFV and you have to just write down that the given polynomial is not Hurwitz polynomial. Right? So now we are going to discuss about your even and odd polynomials. So let's take the example that let's say you are given with a even polynomial as s4 plus 2s square plus 3. So when the question comes for your complete even or odd polynomial, you always, because you cannot separate it further into your even or odd terms, right? So what you require is you need to take the derivative of your polynomial that is even or odd. It is applicable to both even or odd polynomial whenever given and you are asked to calculate whether it will be Hurwitz or not. So what you need to do is take the derivative of your this term. So the derivative of our this polynomial will be 4s cube plus 4s. Constant term, you know, it will be equal to 0. So now you need to divide your s4 plus 2s square plus 3. The polynomial is to be divided by its derivative. So now you need to divide it by 4s cube plus 4s. So what should you multiply with your 4s cube to get s4? You all know that it should be divided by s by 4. So here the first quotient you are going to get is s by 4. So here it will be equal to s4. So now you are going to multiply your 4s with this. So you are going to get your s square here. So now you are going to subtract them. This gets cancelled out and here you get s square plus 3. So again, you divided in the first step and in the second step, your this portion is going to get divided itself. So here it will be 4s cube plus 4s. So let me rub from here. So now the next thing is what you should multiply with s square to get 4s cube. So you can see that you should multiply it by 4s to get your 4s cube. So again 4s to be multiplied by 3 to get your 12s now. So again you are going to subtract it. This gets cancelled out and you are going to get 8 with a negative sign here, right? So again you are going to go for the inversion. It was dividing first and now it is going to get divided by s square, by minus 8s. So when you are going to divide your s square plus 3 by minus 8s, you need to see that minus 8s has to be made equal to s square. So you need to multiply it by minus s. As soon as you get minus s upon 8 here, you just have to stop taking your CFV because you have got a negative quotient. And as soon as you have got a negative quotient, you will just say that your given polynomial is not a Hurwitz polynomial. Right? So this is how we go for the numericals based on your Hurwitz polynomial. Sometimes the CFV becomes a lot more complex and very lengthy. For such purpose, there is another criteria using which you can calculate that your given polynomial is Hurwitz or not. So basically, when we are going to go for your Raoult's criteria or Raoult's-Hurwitz criteria, you should know that let's take the example of S5 plus 8S4 plus 24S cube plus 28S square plus 23S plus 6, right? So for simple Hurwitz criteria, you calculate whether the given system is Hurwitz or not. You need to separate your all these odd terms from the even terms and divide the odd by the even using your CFE, divide and invert method. Using Raoult's criteria, what you need to do is you have to write S5 the highest power of 5 S and then the next highest power. If you just see, one will be odd and one will be even. So now you have to write the coefficients of S raised to power 5 coefficient is 1, next S cube is 24 and next is 23. Similarly, here you need to write down the quotient of all the even terms. So first is 8, then is 28, and the last one is 6. So now you have to go with the multiplication of your, you always need to check that all the elements of your first column should all be positive. Not a single element should come out to be negative when you are going to go for the calculation. So here how you calculate is, you go with your this first 8 into 24, the way you usually took your determinant, minus 28 into 1, divided by, because this is the main element that with which we have started our this thing, so we need to divide this whole by that. So this comes out to be 20.5. Similarly, you go for your second element, the element that you are going to write beneath this, because now I am going to rub this out and I am only going to write here 20.5. So now you need to multiply 8 into 23 minus 6 into 1 divided by again 8. So that is going to give you 22.25. So again, I am going to rub this thing and I am going to replace it with the value 22.25. Similarly, you have to go till your S raised to power 0. So again, you are going to get for your S square, 28 into 20.5 minus 22.25 multiplied by 8 divided by 20.5. Similarly, for the second element, you are going to go for 20.5 into 6 minus, here when nothing is there, it is equal to 0. So minus 0 divided by 20.5 will make it to be equal to 6. So you need to calculate the value of your this thing, that is coming out to be, let me just rub here and write the elements beneath that column only. So this is coming out to be 19.32 and it was 6. So again, you need to go for your S raised to power 1. So here it will be 19.32 multiplied by 22.25 minus now 6 into 20.5 and divided by the element with which you have just started. So it will be 19.32 and the rest of the element will be 0. Second will be 0. So after calculating your this value, you are going to get 15.88 in your S raised to power 1's first column. So I am just going to rub my this thing here and I am going to replace it with 15.88. So S0 will be equal to this minus this. So here nothing is there, so it is equal to 0 divided by this will only give me 6. So now you all should pay attention to the first column. If all the elements of the first column are positive, then you say that your this given polynomial will always be Hurwitz. If you are not mentioned with anything, if you are given with the polynomial and you are told to find out that find out whether the given polynomial is Hurwitz only using CFE, then you need to go for the previous method. Otherwise, you can apply this method for such lengthy polynomials. So that's all for now. So now in the next lecture, we are going to go for the properties of your positive real functions. One more thing is that you all need to remember all the properties, 6 to 7 properties that we just discussed of your Hurwitz polynomial, because the numericals that the questions that you get on Hurwitz polynomial, the first one is the theoretical one, in which you need to write down the properties of a polynomial to be Hurwitz. And the second one is you will be given with a polynomial and you need to find out that whether the given polynomial is Hurwitz or not. So this is your numerical part, but for the theory part, all the properties that we discussed, you need to write all the properties in your exam. So thank you so much for this. So in the next lecture, we are going to go for the properties of positive real function and also the numerical based on that. Positive real function is almost the means same type of questions come there. You will be asked in theory that write down the properties for a given function to be a positive real function, and you will be given with a numerical and you need to calculate that whether the given function is positive real or not. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching.